Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So here today I have another 10 pens currently inked in this pen tray. So I think let's just go through these briefly one by one. We'll then go through a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a Molteni. This is a Modelo 55S in the Scarlet Red. We have a Molteni 55S in the Royal Blue Lucents. We have a John Twist Volcano. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Vulcan's Forge. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the King Cobra. We have a Leonardo Furore in the Orange. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Positano Blue. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Horn. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Mediterraneo. And last but not least, we have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Hawaii. So I think let's just go through these in a little bit more detail. So this is the Molteni Modelo 55S. Now I already have one of these here, and I picked this one up in I believe it was March 2019 from John at stjohnspens.com, and I picked it up at the London Pen Show, and this one is the Scarlet Red. So these Moltenis are actually made by ASC, and these are using Omas celluloid. So this one here is the Royal Blue and the Lucents, and this is the Scarlet Red. So this one here is actually on loan to me from John at St John's Pens, so I'd like to thank him for that. But this is a beautiful material, and I did have an Omas Paragon in this exactly the same Scarlet Red, and it really is a lovely sort of cracked ice red effect with black veins going through it there. But you can see this is really a stunning material there, and this is the original Omas material. Now if I unscrew the cap here, you'll see it has a Molteni nib, and it is a 18 karat gold nib, and that is a medium nib, and it comes with an ebonite feeder there, but there is really quite a nice writing nib. Now the pen itself is a piston filling mechanism, so it holds around about 1 milliliter of ink, but this is a really nice sort of weighted and size pen. I can post the cap if I want to. I don't usually, but for me, it just feels very, very balanced. So I do like this pen. It is actually a really, really nice sort of weight and size, and I just love how these write. They come with a 18 karat gold Bock nib on them. And here is my Royal Blue Lucents version of the Modelo 55S from Molteni. So the reason why it's called Royal Blue Lucents, this part here is the Omas Royal Blue celluloid, and this here, and then this part is the Lucents material. So this is an Omas pen was made out of this blue Lucents material, all in one, and then likewise we've had Omas Paragons made out of the Royal Blue celluloid. So this is a combination of the two, but I do like this a lot. Again, it comes with an 18 karat gold nib there, and again it's a Bock nib, but it just writes very, very nicely. And the weight in the size of my hand, even though it's a piston filling mechanism and it holds around about 1 milliliter, just over 1 milliliter of ink, it just feels really nice in the hand. So I have that pen inked up as well. And then we have the John Twist Volcano, and this was a pen that I picked up in 2019, and I've been writing with a lot lately again. I did find that I love this material, and this was really the reason why I bought this pen. Plus also I know that John Twist, his twist nibs are Yovo nibs, and I like the Yovo broad nibs. So I picked that up partly because of the finish colour of the pen and the nib. I did find though that this twist nib did write very, very dry, so I have flossed it a lot to actually make it write a lot wetter. But this is a beautiful pen. It's made of aluminolite, and aluminolite is basically a hybrid material between resin and other material. And you can get a lot more depth and shine out of it. It's another one of these sort of resins, hybrid resins that are getting closer to celluloid, effectively, and celluloid with the beauty in its depth. So I do like aluminolite a lot, and I have a number of pens that are made from aluminolite. And then we have this pen, and this is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the Vulcan's Forge. And you'll see there it has an L there for Lusso. It's a beautiful, stunning pen. You can just see there, this was a pen that I handpicked the material on myself, and I'm really glad I did. Just look at the depth of that fiery sort of material. It's just absolutely stunning. Now again, this comes with a Jowo broad nib. I do like my Jowo broad nibs. It's a cartridge converter, this pen. Same with the John Twist pen as well, but I just like it, and I have that inked up this week as well with a lovely orange ink. And then my beautiful Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and this is the King Cobra. Why the King Cobra? Well, hopefully you can see that there. It's got a King Cobra on the cap. And this was a material that I did handpick myself. You can see there the L for Lusso on the cap finial. But this is a stunning material. And when I was looking on rod sites and I found this material, it really was stunning. And I was hoping it was going to come out just as nice as it looks now, and it did. And on here I've got a broad Jowo nib, and again, all of Eric's pens at Atelier Lusso are actually cartridge converters, so that comes with a cartridge converter. And then I have some Leonardo's inked up this week, and this one is another pen that was loaned to me for review from John at St John's Pens in the UK, and that's stjohnspens.com. And this is a lovely Leonardo Furore, and in the orange, and this is really beautiful. You can probably see there the air bubbles here in the cap. It's quite interesting the way that they've come to the surface there. There's quite a bit of chatoyance going on, especially here in the sort of what would be the blind cap, because this isn't a piston filling pen, but this is a really lovely pen. It comes with a Leonardo nib. Now this is a medium steel nib in a gold plated version there, and it comes just with a regular feed, not the ebonite feed. So these are the ABS plastic feeds. It is a cartridge converter as well. You can see there, I'm going to fill that one back up again because I had cleaned it out. But this is a beauty of a pen, and I'm going to continue writing with this one over the course of the next week as well. And then we have the Leonardo, and this is the Momento Zero, and this is a Positano Blue. And I got this, I think it was probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. But this is probably about 18 months maybe. But this is a really lovely pen. I do love the sort of oily acrylic sort of pattern going on here in the body of that pen. It really is beautiful. For me, this comes with a broad steel nib, Leonardo nib, and these nibs are made by Bock. It's a cartridge converter pen. You can, if you want to, access the piston filling knob there, or I say piston, it's actually a cartridge converter, but those pens are really good. And then I have the Momento Zero, again another Leonardo, but this is in the horn. Now, I did have a horn, and I sold it, and there wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just that I just don't write with a lot of black or dark grey inks, and I tend to like to mix colours with ink colours with the pen colours, and I just didn't write with it so much, so I actually let it go. This one's on loan to me from John at stjohnspens.com. He's a UK retailer, also goes to the UK pen shows and international pen shows now. He graciously loaned me this pen along with some other Leonardo pens, and this one comes again with a Leonardo broad steel nib there. But again, these pens are actually really quite nice. And then a couple more pens that I have in my collection, and these are the Leonardo, and again, this is another Momento Zero shape, but this is the Mediterraneo or Mediterranean. And this, the reason why it's called that is because it looks like a load of sea waves there. Just look at that material, absolutely stunning. And I just love this pen. When I saw this at the London pen show at Stefano Stilograph Corsani's table, I just knew that I had to get this pen. Now, this isn't a standard Leonardo, unfortunately. It's or the standard range, I should say. This is has a number of differences. First of all, it has a 14 karat gold nib there, and this is a medium nib that I've got on this pen. It comes with an ebonite feeder that you can see there, and it's also a piston filling pen. It's not a cartridge converter. And last but not least, it's a celluloid pen. So these pens typically go for about 3 times as much as the regular Momento Zero pens, because the regular Momento Zero pens are resin and cartridge converter with a steel nib, whereas this is a celluloid, a piston with a gold nib. But these are really beautiful pens, so I'm glad I picked up this one, and that again was at the London Pen Show. And then last but not least, another one that I picked up actually at the same time as this one was this Leonardo, again another Momento Zero, but this was the Hawaii version, and I really do love this. I picked it up from Stefano at Stilograph Corsani, and this really is a beautiful pen. I just love it. It's a stunning pen. So for me, I just really do love it. Now, this is one of the cheaper versions, so let me just clean off that nib. It's a little bit frosted there because of the coldness here in the room. But this is a steel nib, and it's a broad nib, but it's a nib that I do like. It's a cartridge converter again, and you can post these if you want. It's a resin pen, steel nib, cartridge converter, but it's a pen that I really do like a lot. So I do love writing with that, so I have that one inked up this week as well. So I think now that you've looked at the pens, let's do a writing sample with all of these. So the first pen we have here is the Molteni Modelo 55S in the Scarlet Red. So let's do an ink swatch. And this is a medium nib. Now, I do find that these Molteni nibs actually do write quite hard, and that's typical of a lot of Bock nibs. Although you can get variations in Bock nibs, but typically I do find Bock nibs write a little more on the firm side, even though this is an 18 karat gold nib. So this is a Molteni, but you can see it's actually quite a wet nib though. It's a Molteni Modelo 55S, and it's the Scarlet Red, and it's a medium 18 karat gold nib. Get it off camera there. And then the ink in here is Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon. Now, I do find that this nib has a little bit more feedback on the nib than my other Molteni that we'll have a look at now. So this is the Molteni Modello 55S in the royal blue Lucians. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is the lovely coloured ink here. So this is the Molteni Modello 55S, and this is in the royal blue Lucians, and again it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is KWZ Gummy Berry, which is a beautiful coloured ink there. And then we have the John Twist Volcano. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see now that this nib is actually quite wet. So this is the John Twist Volcano, and it is a broad steel nib, but a nice smooth nib as well. And then the ink in here today is Lamy Red, which is actually a lovely sort of light pastel red. And then we have the Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and this is the Vulcan's Forge. We'll do an ink swatch. And I just love this ink. So this isn't a very wet ink for me, but it's an ink that I do love writing with a lot. So this is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the Vulcan's Forge in a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Sailor Gentle Apricot. It's a beautiful ink. The next pen is another Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and this is the King Cobra. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this ink is a lovely sort of dark blue ink. I don't normally go for dark blue inks, but this has a lovely sheen to it. So this is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the King Cobra, and again it's a broad steel nib, and the ink in here is Diamine, Skull and Roses, and that is a German exclusive, but it's an ink that I love a lot. And then we have the Leonardo Officina Italiana, and this is the Furore in the orange. So let's do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib, so it's actually putting down, I'd say it's almost like a fine, to me anyway. You might disagree with this, but to me this feels more like a fine. So it's the Leonardo. It's still quite a wet nib though. And it's the Furore. And it's the orange. But you can see there that this, compared to these boards, I'd say that this almost is a fine nib, even though it actually says it's a medium nib. So this is a medium steel nib, and then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Mandarin, which is another lovely orange ink that I like. The next pen is, again, the Leonardo. This is the Momento Zero in the Positano blue. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a broad nib, and again another steel nib. So this is the Leonardo Momento Zero, and it's the Positano blue in a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster, and it's Australian Sky Blue, which I think actually matches this pen quite nicely. You can see there. The next pen is a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Horn. So let's do an ink swatch. And you can see here this ink combination is quite nice with the pen. It's also quite a wet writer. So it's the Leonardo Momento Zero in the Horn, and it's a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Kiri Sami, which I also think is actually quite a nice sort of combination colour for that pen as well. And then we have another Leonardo, and this is a Momento Zero Mediterraneo. So we'll do an ink swatch. And now we're back to a medium nib. This is the Leonardo Momento Zero Mediterraneo, and this is a medium, and it is a 14 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue. And again, that's a lovely blue ink. And then last but not least, we have the Leonardo, and this is a Momento Zero in the Hawaii. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is the Leonardo Momento Zero in the Hawaii, and it is a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Pelican Edelstein Sapphire, which is actually quite a rich blue ink. So let's just go through these pen and ink combinations one more time. We have a Molteni Modelo 55S in the Scarlet Red, inked up with a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon. We have a Molteni Modelo 55S in the Royal Blue Lucents with a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Gummy Berry. We have a John Twist Volcano in a broad steel nib, inked up with Lamy Red. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Vulcan's Forge with a broad steel nib, inked up with Sailor Gentle Apricot. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda King Cobra in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Skull and Roses. We have a Leonardo Furore in the orange medium steel nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Mandarin. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Positano blue with a broad steel nib, inked up with Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the horn with a broad steel nib inked up with Pilot Washizuku Kirisami. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero Mediterraneo in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue. And then we have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Hawaii in a broad steel nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Sapphire. So there you have it, that's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.